for gold. So I wanted to take this opportunity to talk about something that's mentioned in a lot of tutorial videos, but never really explained, and that's how to make decisions in League of Legends. Now I know a lot of people mention this, and they often say that the difference between bronze and gold or gold and diamond is decision making, and that's very true. But I feel like everyone says this, but no one really explains how to make those decisions. So hopefully this video will help you do just that. So this week we're going to be going through the actual core components of making a decision in League of Legends. So we're going to be looking at anticipation, risk versus reward, being decisive, and being able to compromise and adapt. Making a decision is easy. A decision is simply choosing whether or not to act on an idea. That's not the hard part. The hard part, and the thing that separates gold players from diamond players, is being able to consistently and creatively visualize these ideas. And the only way to consistently train your brain to present you with these ideas is to practice. Practice thinking. I guarantee you, if you ask any successful person, whether it be in gaming, whether it be in sports, any intellectual field at all, they will all practice thinking, visualizing new ideas that keeps them 3 steps ahead of their opponents. You need to learn to anticipate. A gold player anticipating trading with an enemy would probably think about these things. Should I trade? Would I win? What spells would he use on me? And based off those answers, he would decide whether or not to trade. Whereas a challenger player would anticipate things like this. By constantly practicing these things and thinking about these scenarios and creating these ideas, your brain will begin doing this autonomously, which means that subconsciously you'll automatically start producing these ideas. And in that moment, you will have gone from being a reactive player to a proactive player. And that is the first step to consistently, constantly making good, game-changing decisions. Now that you've got an idea of what you want to do, and can anticipate what may happen, these are the 2 tools that you need to create risk versus reward. Now, risk versus reward is a system you can use to quickly determine whether an idea is worth acting on. If the reward is greatly higher than the risk, then generally it's a good decision. Because even if you lose, you know that you had the highest possible chances for success. So for example, let's say you get the idea you want to roam bot. The risk would be not getting a kill, possibly dying, or losing CS. But the reward would be maybe getting a kill or 2, maybe some assists and helping out bot lane. So at this stage, the risk is not worth the reward, because getting a kill would be unlikely, but losing CS is almost guaranteed. You know, however, that being able to roam would be a good decision and it would help your team win the game. So what you need to do now is reduce your risk. You could do this by pushing your minions into the enemy tower, and then you wouldn't lose much CS. Or knowing the jungler would be at red or blue between 7 and 8 minutes, then you reduce your risk of dying. Or knowing that the enemy bot laner has no summoners and so they can't escape a gank, that'd increase your chances of getting a kill. By doing these things, you've just reduced your risk and made roaming a much better decision. Now obviously, being decisive just means making decisions. Oh no, how obvious could that be? But it also means not being afraid to make a decision and not lingering on a bad decision. In many cases, it is often better to make a quick and committed decision than the absolute most optimal decision. Because lots of things in League of Legends aren't just straight up good or bad, a quick okay decision could be better than a delayed great decision, which would cause you to then miss the opportunity completely. Especially if you're willing to commit fully to that okay decision. Diamonds and challengers don't make the right decisions every time. In fact, they make quite a few suboptimal calls. But when they do make that decision, they commit to it fully. What makes the difference is how much you can commit to that decision. A huge mistake is being indecisive, and starting to do something, then stopping, questioning yourself, changing your plan, and then even doubting that new plan. If you want to steal their blue, go and steal it. Get in there and give it your all. Don't walk halfway there and then start questioning yourself, then turn around. You've just wasted 30 seconds walking around achieving nothing in a game that is won and lost in seconds. Now lastly, I want to cover off on compromising and adapting. Now often in solo queue, there will be more than just one shot caller on your team, and people will decide on different things. Now this is where I want to stress, it is better for 5 people to decisively make an okay decision than it would be for your team to split off and do different things. If you've just killed 4 members of their team, they have a strong jungler left alive. Should we get Baron or mid inhib? Who cares? Just pick one and do it as a team. It doesn't matter which decision is right, and this goes back to my last point of being decisive. Make a decision as a team and put your all into making that decision work. So you need to learn to compromise with your team. You might know for a fact that your team isn't making the right choice, but they have a better chance of making that choice work with you than without you. Being able to adapt in a game like this is the type of higher level thinking that helps people consistently win games. So that's all for this week. I hope you enjoyed the first installment of Tips for Gold. Now I'm going to need your feedback this week so I know if this level of advice was too high or too low, or if I could change it up. So all suggestions, improvements, feedback in the comments would be absolutely awesome. I do read everything you say. And so until next week, Scurbs out.